everybody, and welcome. We are out here just outside of Tonopah, crossing over the Central Arizona project as we are heading towards the Belmont Mountains and the Belmont Mountain Trail. Now, it's been a cool summer, pretty calm. Been staying indoors mostly. Of course, we escaped up north a couple of times, and the really big trip for that was the Arizona Strip trip. So if you didn't see that video, definitely check it out. It's a 5-day adventure through some of the most remote parts of not only Arizona, but also the entire US. So it was a really great trip. But other than that, we really haven't been able to get out close to home. It's been too hot. Those trails have been in the oven all summer long, baking, getting ready. And they are finally cooling off. It is officially fall, which is exciting for all of us Phoenicians who get to finally go outside again. So that is what we are doing today. We are, like I said, here at Belmont Mountain, and we're going to be doing the trail today, which I must admit is probably one of my favorite trails in the Phoenix area. I like it because it's close to home. It only took about half an hour to get here, and it's also pretty short. Very scenic, lots of great stuff to see, lots of historic sites and abandoned sites. So it's just all around kind of a really fun, not too difficult, not too easy kind of trail. So that's where we are today. We are here about to air down the Jeep, and then we will be continuing north into the Belmont Mountains, which not really a long trail, about 15 miles. I guess it would take about 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the stops. But to get here, of course, we had to drive over quite a few miles of kind of residential washboard desert dirt roads like this. So it's a little bumpy. Once you're coming out of Tonopah, it turns from pavement to that for a while. And this is basically what I consider to be the start of the trail. It's at this intersection here, and we will be continuing that way. That is Belmont Mountain out there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying the cooler weather, taking the Jeep out for a little bit of exploring. So hope you'll stick along for the ride, and we'll go see what we can find out here in the Belmont Mountains. So we are on the final approach into Belmont Mountain. You can see is this looming pile of stuff here. It's really the main draw of this trail really is kind of centered around this mountain, and you can see up there on the slopes of it, that is the Tonopah-Belmont Mine. We will get into the history of that in just a little bit. Just stopping here to look at it from this angle and kind of talk a little bit about the trail. As I showed back there, one of the washouts, actually a few of them have gotten a little bit rougher since the last time we did this trail. So keep that in mind when you're planning a trip out here. Trails tend to deteriorate with age, and then periodically they'll be maintained or graded or whatever. That is not the case with Belmont. It's a little bit rough, but definitely worth the drive. Very beautiful scenery, especially as we are climbing and we'll eventually get up and around Belmont Mountain. So we'll be up there in just a little bit. We've got one more pretty good hill to climb, and then we will be at kind of a main junction of different mines and stuff. Now, I think it was the first time me and my dad came out here. We rode on ATVs, and we were actually up at the mine checking things out, and some guy in a pickup truck was trying to get up this hill. Not really sure what happened, but he got stuck in one of these ruts. I'll show a picture of him. We actually came down to help him get out of it. So again, not sure how exactly it happened. This is kind of off the main trail. The actual trail comes over here, but it is a little tight in spots, but with careful tire placement you should be able to get up this hill A-OK. So we're gonna head up there and go check it out. We have made it to Belmont Mountain. Lots to check out here. We are at this basically five-way intersection that is kind of the meeting point of a ton of different trails. We came back from the right over there. We're going to stop here and go check out the Tonopah-Belmont Mine, and then we're going to continue. We'll check out those ruins right there and continue on the trail as it heads north towards another paved road, which is Vulture Mine Road, and it heads to Wickenburg and then back to I-10. So that is the Tonopah-Belmont Mine. We're gonna go check that out right now. We're parking the Jeep here because there are barricades on the trail and you have to hike the rest of the way anyway. So we're gonna go check that out. Got all our gear packed up, ready to go. And we're gonna leave the Jeep safe and sound right here. Next update will be from just up there. All right, so we are out at the Tonopah-Belmont Mine now. We are up basically on top of all those foundations that we showed as we drove in. Now, the history of the area is pretty interesting. It was about the 1920s, around the end of World War I, when a lot of people began migrating to the west in general. Now, one of those areas that people came to was Tonopah because Arizona was known for its nice dry air, which was good for people with lung issues. So there was an influx of people to the southwest in general, Tonopah being one of those. At the time, really nothing going on, a lot of homesteaders, and a little bit of a local population boom. Now, it was about 1920 when people set out to work here at the Belmont Mine, and they were primarily after silver and lead at first. Those were the two minerals they were really going after, and the mine was the most active from 1924 to 1930. That's when all of this machinery would have been here. You can see some of the remnants of all the cement pads, are basically all that's left. Of course, those really big stamp mill foundations you can see down there as well. Pretty cool to see, and it kind of gives this cool vibe as you're approaching the mountain. But that was the heyday, the boom time of the mine, if you will. And around that time, about 50 people were employed here at the mine. And it got its name, of course, from a famous mine in boomtown at the time in Nevada called Tonopah, Nevada. And I believe there's also a Belmont, Nevada. I'm not entirely sure about that, but that is the namesake of this mine right here. And it actually later became the name of this mountain range, the Belmont Mountains, which are very close to the Bighorn Mountains. But of course, the nearby town, as this area boomed at the mine, was named Tonopah. It was around the 1940s and the onset of World War II when this mine began to not be as profitable and began shutting down. So that is a general history of the area. Pretty short-lived time frame, basically from 1920 to 1940, with the most active years being just before 1930. So a lot going on in the country at the time. Of course, we're between world wars. Great Depression is happening, which I'm sure is what led to the closing of this mine ultimately. So again, impressive ruins here to check out today. I am currently standing up on top of all these mine tailings that were pulled out of the mine at the time. Of course, we talked about the stamp mill foundations down there. really impressive multi-tiered setup they had going on. So at one point it was a pretty busy operation. Now this is the main shaft here at the Tonopah-Belmont Mine, and you can go in about 20 feet before it is completely graded off behind me, which kind of has an interesting reason why it was graded off in the first place. Up until about 1990, all of these mines, and there's quite a few around the mountain, were open and they weren't blocked off to the public. As we get in here, we can see that it is currently very well gated off, and that is because I believe it was in 1990 a prospector entered the mine and fell down a 350-foot shaft to his death. So the mine department, the Bureau of Mines, whatever at the time, decided to bar off the entrances. But again, 2002, another guy was out here in the mine, fell down a shaft. He actually pried open the gate they had up at the time. So 2 people have died in this mine, both of which were not actual workers here at the mine, which is unique. The Tonopah-Belmont Mine had a pretty clean history. No fatalities, and it wasn't until the mine was actually shut down for decades that a couple of fatalities occurred. So we'll hop up here and peek through this grate they have in here. So very interesting though. Very solid steel reinforced cement foundations, the whole 9 yards. And you can get a glimpse down the actual mine shaft right there. Actually goes back quite a ways. That's a pretty cool shot right there. And you can see collapses, and this right here almost looks like a vertical shaft. I'm not entirely sure. Could just be a little bit of a cave-in, but that is why abandoned mines are dangerous and they should not be explored. So that's it. That is the main haulage tunnel added to the Tonopah-Belmont Mine. We are going to head back out of the mine here just a few feet and back into daylight. So get ready. It's going to get really bright. There we go. And there's quite a few more foundations to check out. We're definitely going to head back towards the Jeep, explore a little bit more of what's left. So everywhere you look from this viewpoint, there is just really mining evidence going on everywhere. So if you look out on the distant mountains to the south, you can see tailings piles, and then off to the east, across the main junction, you can see what's left of the Morningstar Mine. Now, up until a couple of years ago, the Morningstar Mine used to be open. It was a vertical shaft on top of the tailings piles that you can see there. But last time we were out here, we actually found that the mine had been completely filled in by the Bureau of Mines here in Arizona. Decided to fill in the mine because it really was in kind of a weird spot. So I'll put a couple of pictures up on the screen now. You can see what the Morningstar looked like now and what it looked like recently and what it looks like today. So we're not going to be going over there today to check it out because there's nothing to see. Now, if you take the alternate route back to the start of the trail by the CAP, it goes past the Morningstar Mine and over to where you started. But we will be going north today. We will be checking out some mines on the back side of the mountain before connecting with Vulture Mine Road at the north end of the trail. So as you're coming down the trail, there's this little shack here. We've always driven past it. I've never actually stopped. So I'm not sure the purpose of this. This could have been like an explosives storage maybe. It's got very thick walls, you can see here. I mean, that's pretty thick concrete. It stood here for probably about 50 years. So obviously of some importance. It's a little too small to be a house. So I'm guessing this is probably where they stored the explosives for the mine, maybe something valuable for the mine. Maybe the money pulled out or the ore pulled out was stored here. Not sure, but cool thing to check out. So the trail is going to split up here and go right to the Morningstar Mine and an alternate way back to the CAP where the trail started, and then we're going to continue to the left up towards Wickenburg up to Vulture Mine Road. So again, a lot of options. You can go out and back, you can make a loop back to the CAP from Belmont Mountain, or you can make this a through trail connecting 2 points of pavement together. So anyway, there's a Jeep, there's Belmont Mountain, there's a cool cabin. So we're gonna go ahead and continue down the trail. So we are on the backside of Belmont now, and can't really find that vertical shaft. I remember we were on ATVs and I thought we drove right up to it, but there's a lot of these like really dilapidated mining roads. So it's either up that way more, which I'm not going to go hike up there, or it's been overgrown or filled in. Not really sure what happened. It was definitely in this area. I've kind of looked all around, and you think a big metal grate would be easy to spot, but not having too much luck with that. So I'll just pop some pictures over this of the shaft. It is quite deep and it is basically straight down. So anyways, can't really find it, which is a little bit disappointing, but nevertheless, pretty good day out here exploring some of the ruins. So we're gonna go ahead and head back down to the Jeep and continue on our exit. Alright, so that is going to be it from Belmont Mountain Trail. Closing thoughts: the trail was a little bit rougher than I remember. A few of those washouts have definitely been eroded away, but high clearance you absolutely can't get on this trail without high clearance. Some of the spots up to the mine, I think you could get away without four-wheel drive. However, I would definitely recommend having four-wheel drive, especially if you're going to continue past the mine up here to Vulture Mine Road. Overall, I'm going to stick by the rating that this is a 4 out of 10. Obviously, you can find more difficult parts if you kind of venture off the main trail. Lots and lots of side trails to explore there. But just for me, I love the mine. Looking around the mine, there's so many foundations, lots of cool stuff to check out. And this trail has a little bit of sentimental value here at AZ Off-Road. It was the very first trail we took our Jeep on after we put the lift and tires on. So definitely interesting to come back, 2-3 years later and see how the Jeep, which has continued to evolve, handles the trail. And I think it did really well, even better than that first time we came out here. So anyways, that is the update here from the end of Belmont Mountain. Thank you for watching this video. And if you want to see more about this Jeep, we just released part 5 of our ZJ project series. It goes over some of the more recent modifications we've done to the vehicle, so definitely go watch that. It came out last week, and there are 5 parts to that series that go over pretty much everything that we've done to this thing. Appreciate you sticking around, and we will see you guys on the next adventure.